All right. I obviously am no longer a sports writer, Cody, but sometimes when we do these things, especially when we're doing something right afterward, I try to kind of envision like what would like
Mhm.
my story be if I was still a sports writer? What would I kind of try to harp on? And the theme that I got at, and I'll share it with now, is this game, 1-0 on the road, was exactly the type of game that the Tigers brass envisioned is the way they win games. And however many they win is however many they win. But I'll just kind of break down like an umbrella view of it, and then we'll kind of go from there. You had high end starting pitching, obviously. Tarek Skubal, 6 innings, 0 runs, 3 hits, 6 Ks, 0 walks. I wouldn't even say that was top notch Skubal, but he was dialed in. You manufacture runs, a theme that we have banded. I say we as a talking point for this podcast because of the team over the past couple of years. You manufacture runs. We'll get into that a little bit later as well. Now, in this case, it's just a run, but you manufacture a lead. You have some high end defense to back your pitching, a shutdown bullpen, and overall, you look at it and you get a contribution from a guy that, or guys that you're, in terms of team hierarchy, you're not banking on in order to win more games than not over the course of a season. So that's a very vague interpretation of this game, but I had to think like, there's no game tomorrow, right? If AJ and Scott were gonna have a drink tonight, I feel like they'd be toasting. It's like this went perfectly. So so take that in whatever direction you want, Cody. But to me, this felt like it's weird to say one game, but this felt like the epitome of how the powers that be want the Tigers to win games this year.
No, you're right. And let's be clear, the Tigers are going to need more than one run to win a substantial amount of games this year.
Very
But
fair.
we can talk about that later. For a 1-0 game, it was for the most part clean. It was well played. Things AJ Hinch harps on. A lot of minute factors in this game really represented, I think, the brand of baseball that we've seen from these AJ Hinch Tigers teams when they've been at their best. That is what we witnessed today. Not only the things you mentioned, but just kind of watching the game unfold. One of the great things about covering Hinch is you really start to get inside his head and try to think, okay, how's he going to manage the bullpen? How's he going to deploy the relievers? How's he going to get the final 9 or 12 outs in this game? And you saw it, in the eighth, Chafin goes out. You can tell he's trying to get him to the lefties, Nicky Lopez, and then Andrew Benintendi at the top of the order. He gets 3 up, 3 down in the eighth. There's still a lefty out there in the ninth. I'm like, Chafin's coming back out for the ninth. And then sure enough, that's what happens. Then it's like, okay, who's actually getting the save here? Was not Alex Lang. It was Jason Foley. Interestingly enough, AJ after the game talked about like, just the different shapes and different arm angles White Sox hitters saw today. Tarek Skubal, big, funky, overhand, power fastball, a much different style in Shelby Miller. And then you're seeing a power sinker from Jason Foley from a lower arm slot in the ninth. Little things like that. Javi Baez, second to Tarek Skubal's story of the day. He's having fun. He's jawing with the White Sox fans all day. We see a little glimpse of the fun that Javi Baez can still bring. Gets a base knock up the middle, basically pimps his single, which was amazing.
I mean,
Uh,
awesome.
it gets on base and then right away steals second. And that's a little thing that proved to be the difference in the game. It reminded me of the Joe Madden Javi Baez Cubs teams, like win 90 was a Joe Madden saying. The Tigers won 90 feet when Javi Baez stole second. Parker Meadows, I believe, moved him over, and then
Yep.
Andy Ibanez gets the sac fly. That's playing some good baseball right there. And when you have someone just shoving like Scuba was, it was enough for him to win the game.